What's up, everyone? Thralls Metal here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick, and I have an album review, and this will be the last one of 2021. Holy shit, what a year. This has been absolutely loaded with killer releases, and I have yet another one that I really wanted to go over here. So today I am going over the debut full length of Cadaveric Fumes, Echoing Chambers of Soul. This comes out on the 10th of December on Blood Harvest Records. This band formed in France in 2011. This is their first full length, and well, it's kind of weird because I literally just jumped on Metal Archives and then said that this band had broken up this year. And I really hope that Metal Archives got that one dead fucking wrong, because I've already been a fan of this band. I have their compilation, the Forsaken Triptych, and that is a compilation of all their demos, and holy shit, those demos were really good. But this new album definitely showcases a much broader side to their sound overall. Now, this band is definitely flat out death metal, but there is a lot of extra stuff. And first things first, super happy that all the song titles are in English, so I don't have to murder the French language once again. Kind of got a good track record of that, unfortunately. And second, I'm gonna eat my words on intros and possibly an interlude on this one. The opening track, Exordium, is technically an intro, but guess what? It's musical. It's this really cool slow build of a intro song, all instrumental. It's very musical. It's not just soundscapes or anything like that. And it goes right into the opening track, The Stirring Unknown, beautifully. There's a cool fade in at the beginning, and then it gets right to the riffs, right to the heft, and even showcases the production right away without going through a whole bunch of soundscapes like most intros do. That is the kind of intro I like. Now, production-wise, this is some thick, murky death metal. Very prominent bass. In fact, both the bass and the bass drum are absolutely booming on here. And granted, I haven't listened to it in the car yet, but I have a feeling that this is going to pretty much massage my back as I drive with all the bass that's on here. The double bass groove and just relentless riffing on here with that sludgy tone is just so damn nice. But one of the cool things they do on here is really melodic lead work. For all the sludgy heft to the guitars, the lead work on here is actually really pretty. At the end of The Stirring Unknown, it kind of goes into a death doom break, and it feels just dark and oppressive as hell, but the lead on it is actually very melodic, and I kind of like that cool contrast there. Now, this is very groove oriented pretty much across the board. The only parts where you get like more up-tempo, like fast, thrashy, or even blast beats are the opening track, The Stirring Unknown, and the last track, Void Gazers, which are kind of the longer songs in here, because I believe both of those are over 7 minutes long, so they bring in a lot of cool dynamics. But most of this kind of lays on like death doom sort of like sludginess, but it's maybe a little too up-tempo for just death doom. Death doom elements aren't prevalent enough, but I would say definitely just groovy death metal overall. Like, these guys love to hammer on really good riffs and just kind of keep that steady headbanging groove going pretty much throughout this album. And while those leads definitely stand out as a more melodic moment, there are some really interesting guitar hooks on here. The Engulfed Sepulchre and the Desolate Breed both have riffs I would have to describe as like a death metal take on trad metal slash heavy metal riffs. They have a different feel to them. They kind of hark back, you know, to like little Iron Maiden or like hell, even Thin Lizzy, except played with like death metal intensity and sort of like that sort of atmosphere to it. But you throw those cool leads on top, especially the ones in Desolate Breed, which they just come sweeping through and they're just very pretty. It kind of gives this an interesting melodic bite that I would not call it melodic death metal, but I would just say it's flat out dirty death metal that actually loves melody. The song In Cold Astral Sleep also threw sort of an interesting wrinkle into this too. That one kind of lays on a heavy, strummed, almost death and roll riff. Like, it breaks up with some more like just flat out death metal chugs in there, but overall it kind of has like that little bit of like a Wolverine blues sort of feel to it. It just kind of stays on that riff. Nice mid-tempo groove. The drums aren't too flashy on that one. And it stands out as a really cool, catchy song, but catchy for a different reason than a lot of the other stuff on here. This album has a lot of cool variety to it, and I was kind of shocked by it because hearing their earlier stuff, their demos were very raw, sort of just cavernous death metal with some cool thrashy accents. This definitely broadened the sound. Again, death and roll, some heavy metal riffs, some of it bordering on like prog-like structure. Void Gazers actually reminds me a lot of early Opeth, back when they were still like really heavy and the prog nuance really hasn't worked its way into the band yet. But also mix that with like Finnish death metal in terms of that like flat out grimy sound. So early Amorphous, early Sentenced once again. And they even succeeded in making an interlude that I didn't just want to skip. Waters of Absu is actually really cool. It's all weird synths and like maybe looped feedback, but it comes together in this really interesting soundscape. And there's actually a kind of like a heartbeat like rhythm to it. It kind of has a feel like, you know, early 80s Tony Banks meets maybe a 10 strip of acid and I don't know, an all-night sci-fi horror movie marathon. It just kind of works that way and I didn't hate it. And it's actually kind of musical, and the soundscape is really cool. It doesn't just, you know, lay on like the horror synth tropes that you hear at the beginning of a lot of death metal. It sounds kind of unique, and it segues really well into the next song, so I legit couldn't complain. So yeah, you win. You gave me an interlude that I can't bitch about. This album managed to succeed on a lot of fronts. It maintains aggression. It still delivers all the death metal ferocity that I want in my death metal, but it also delivers some really cool wrinkles in terms of the formula, adding like very different riffs again. And the album flows really well because I would say all the songs are very different from one another and broken up well with lots of different dynamics in those songs. I would say maybe the first track or the first actual track outside of the intro, which was cool, and the last track are probably the most similar ones in terms of like the dynamics, in terms of like being more just straightforward death metal. The other ones kind of incorporate some different stuff. But overall, this makes for a very interesting listen. And again, comparing this to their early demos that I have, this is huge growth, which all of this really makes me hope that they didn't break up. I hope Metal Archives got that one wrong and they're still together because I want to hear more of this. I want to hear this kind of growth from album to album because this is really, really good. So overall, I'm going to give this 4 stars. This is a killer album. This was definitely not what I was expecting when I first started to jam this, and the fact that this took so many different turns along the way really made this an engaging listen. Maybe some tweaks in the production because there were some times where I think the bass was just way too up in the mix and it kind of drowned out a lot of the cool stuff that was going on. But overall, I can't really complain. Even the interlude was cool. And I bitch about interludes like no one's business. Hell, I'm pretty sure I bitched about interludes in the last one. No, yeah, I did. And this one actually had an intro track that was actually musical. It didn't waste any time getting to what they were about, which was just killer death metal and really clever songwriting. I strongly urge you guys to check this one out. I really wish this one hadn't come out near the end of the year because this is one I think if I spent more time with, might have ended up on my year-end list, but as you guys know, I already made it, so can't change it now, so consider this one another cool honorable mention, as well as Phrenolith 2. But yeah, albums came out late this year because everyone wanted to put out an album because everyone was working on an album, probably during 2020 because everyone was stuck at home, kind of like we were. So go out, get this. I'm definitely going to get this. This is another one that I'm going to have to wait for it to hit a distro because, again, shipping prices from across the pond are a little steep. So I'm just going to bide my time, but know that I will definitely get this, and I urge you guys to sit back and listen to it because this is a flat-out fun death metal album to listen to. So if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up, and if you are new to the channel, subscribe because we do stuff like this all the time. We're also on Patreon. If you'd like to help us out, there will be a link down below. We also have t-shirts for sale. If you would like one, hit us up on thrallsofmetal@gmail.com. Send us a message, put shirts in it, and we will get back to you and hopefully sell you a shirt. Thank you guys for a flat-out killer year. Again, you guys make this possible. This has been so much damn fun. We're going to get down to shooting our Entombed ranking here soon, and then eventually we're going to get on the ball in terms of what we want to rank next. And since January is kind of a slow month, we're going to think of some fun things to do just kind of in between because we won't have as much to review. But yeah, plenty of stuff coming. Thank you guys for sticking with us, and thank you to all of our new subscribers too. Welcome to the fold. There's a whole bunch of cool shit coming, and it's all for you guys because you're literally the reason why we do this. You guys fucking rule, and we will catch you later.